Hey, I'm so sorry.
You are completely bonkers.
The worst thing is that my reminder popped up and said own it at 10 o'clock, and I thought, oh, that stupid diary doesn't know what it's talking about. It's 12 o'clock.
Bonkers, 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 bonkers.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Phoebe's birthday, so I went to make her a cup of tea before she goes off filming, and I just completely didn't realise. I'm so sorry.
I've been ringing you on all mediums. I've been PMing you. I've been Skyping you. I've been, WTF messages everywhere.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I was spending some quality time with my daughter, away from all gadgets. 22 today, Judith. Can you believe it?
Life goes on.
I know. They start little and they grow up, and then you just get older. And one of my gifts to her today was a big jumbo thing of evening primrose oil supplement. She said, well, I didn't see that one coming, Mother.
No. She won't need it for another couple of decades either. Why are you prescribing that at the tender age of 22?
Because she gets quite grumpy once a month, and I thought it might help. It's supposed to help a PMT, so I thought even if it's got a placebo effect, it's got to be better than nothing.
That you could just say it will help.
Yeah, that's what I said. So how's your week been then?
Well, it's been a week on and off at times of excruciating pain. I can't remember whether when I spoke to you last Wednesday morning I was already feeling pain, but by Wednesday afternoon I had to knock off work. One of my clients, I was going to say I'd abandoned the call in the middle, but actually she abandoned me because I was in such terrible pain with a backache that I couldn't move. Yeah, I couldn't move and I couldn't focus. And I don't know, it was coming on for a few days, but Wednesday afternoon, I couldn't function. And Thursday, as you know, was my birthday. And what I was trying to do on Wednesday after our podcast and the show notes was do my newsletter, do my client, clear my diary so that the next day I could just be hanging about, reading a novel, not doing very much. But because I had to abandon Wednesday, I had to work a bit on Thursday because I'd got all these unfinished jobs that I wasn't able to do on Wednesday. I haven't had a backache for 25 years because I worked out that there were two things that I used to do as a tall woman which contributed to backache. One was making my own clothes, because you lift up the very heavy, well in those days they were heavy, very heavy sewing machine on one side of your body only. And then you spent the entire weekend sort of slumped over the machine itself. So that used to give me a backache, so I stopped doing that. And then the other thing that gave me a backache was humping my own stuff whenever I moved house. I stopped doing that, got mentored it. Haven't had a bad back for 25 years. And this was awful. I can actually remember that it was so awful. I can remember the last time I had it. I've just not known pain like it for like 25 years. It was grim. And my drug of choice in circumstances like this is Nurofen Plus, which has codeine inside it. And it has the extra special lightning blue warning on the outside that says, can be addicted, don't take for more than 3 days, which is what I call my Robbie Williams moment, where I think I'm going to become addicted to over-the-counter drugs, which I find quite sort of rock and roll. I quite like that, actually. But the pain was grim, honestly, grim.
Really? Then it crept up on you. It wasn't. I
noticed that in the lead up to it, I've got such a positive attitude to life that as soon as I'm over it, I forget it. So I can't actually remember how long it was, the run up. But I noticed in the run up to it breaking out really badly that progressively chairs got more and more uncomfortable. And I thought, well, that's very odd. Because actually, if you can imagine your spine perfectly straight, the degrees where it was hurting was very small, 5 or 10%. So I had, for instance, I'm sitting in a chair now. I could lean forward onto my knees and touch my toes. I could lean forward all the way to the front, no hurting at all. Lean back about 5 or 10%, excruciating.
Oh.
And also, so when I sat down on a chair or sat down on something, sofa or a bed, I then got stuck there because I knew it was going to hurt me to get up.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I was terrified of the pain of movement, basically. But my body gave me this wisdom, which was, if you lie down, it's going to be all right. But actually, by then, I'd become wedged in the sitting position, and I couldn't even lie down because I knew that lifting my leg was going to hurt. Anyway, I'm over it now. I'm much better now. And lying down, lying down and resting has been the best cure. And I never mind an opportunity to do more lying down and resting, although it would be great if I wasn't in pain at the same time.
Yeah. God, well, that sounds. So you think it's something to do with your posture then?
Well, I don't know what it is. It's gone now. But I think, and I don't expect it to come back. I think it was a fluke. But it was on my birthday, which was the bummer.
Oh,
so I was in agony all my birthday. You forgot my birthday, and of course that
I'm
was
so sorry again.
Very, very, very upsetting.
Oh,
I also was. Only 200 of my Facebook friends remembered, and it was 300 last year. So I'm a third less popular than I was last year.
God!
Obviously, I can't eat cake on my birthday. Cake was offered and declined because that's low carb, and the water went off, so we couldn't have a shower either. So it was a strange day, all to coincide with my 67th birthday. But then there was a 3-day bank holiday weekend, which was all lovely and quiet. So what I intended to do on Thursday, nothing. I couldn't, and then I did it for 3 days over the weekend instead.
What a tale of woe.
Yes, it was a bit of a tale of woe. I'm surprisingly jolly by vocal tone, because actually when Kath, who is a listener, abandoned me at 20 to 4 on Wednesday afternoon because she couldn't bear to listen to me, struggle through the pain any longer, life was, on the scale of 1 to 10, seriously in the lower half of the enjoyment factor, actually. And I'm amazed it's healed up so quickly, and it came from nowhere, which is very weird.
Yeah, very strange. Well, fingers crossed it doesn't come back again.
No, I don't think it will.
Yeah, Facebook let me down on that birthday thing, I'm afraid. I just didn't see any notifications at all, and obviously I haven't got it in my diary, but I will be putting it in my diary
You're
now.
just you're a crap friend, Nicola, and you're half an hour late for the podcast this morning. You're not in my good books this week, you have to say.
I can tell. So, yes, so my week's been... I'm really struggling to adjust to England, I've got to tell you. It's grey, it's miserable, it's drizzly. I've been fighting off depression. I love being with my kids, obviously, but I do not want to go out anywhere. I just do not want to step outside. There is no...
Well, I saw a picture on Facebook this morning of Pethco Taverna, and I thought, I don't know why she's in England right now. It looks really nice out there.
It is really nice out there, and I'm missing the best bit because it's hot.
I know.
Not too hot yet.
Yes, I know. Hot but not too hot, spring-like, and not too many people out there. It looks gorgeous.
Well, it's all right because, I'm here because the house that I'm moving into isn't ready, and the people whose house I was in wanted to use it themselves. How very dare they? So it won't happen again, because what will happen is I'll come back every 90 days for a week, and that'll be a week or two, and that'll be just about right, really.
And where are you today? Are you still at Irving's? Or
yes, I'm still at Irving's. Yeah. Still at Irving's, and we're going out for dinner tonight for Phoebe. It's a family dinner tonight. We're going to a Wagamama's in Brighton because it's the only place where we can fit 10 of us in, and it's Asian food, and she wants Asian food because she's an aberration in our family. She doesn't like spicy food. What? She's just realised that. It's taken her 22 years to realise. We've all been forcing chili down her for her whole life, and she just realised she doesn't like it. So, and then she's got a birthday with her friends. So she's a bit like the Queen. She has an official birthday, a friend's birthday, and then a full-on party out weekend kind of birthday. Yeah, and I've just been really struggling. I've had to go out to film the and going out, funnily, makes you feel better, even though it's not great out there. And I think what it is, Judith, is we've spent I've spent all my life trying to get to a point where I don't have to work so hard. And, we talk about this a lot on the podcast. But it's all very well if you've then got things to do when you're not working. And I think my things to do when I'm not working have generally involved sitting in the sunshine or walking in the sunshine or walking, just generally not things you can do in England. So I think it's an adjustment thing. So people who are trying to get to the point where they don't have to work so hard here would have hobbies that don't involve sunshine.
Yes.
indoors hobbies, as it were. Whereas all my hobbies have now become centred around the sunshine. So I'm going to have to work that out. But I'm going off on my travels from next week onwards. Every week I'm going for a bit of a travel around. And in fact, I'm just going to investigate stabilizers for my camera so that I can take more shots of where I am, rather, because Phoebe gets very upset when I jiggle about when I walk, and I can't seem to be able to walk without jiggling.
Two things. Where will you be for the podcast next Wednesday?
Oh, good question. I don't know, but I've arranged it so I'm only travelling on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Fridays.
Okay, but you'll be there, so you'll have gone there on Tuesday, won't you?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So I know.
Okay. So now go to your screensaver and read the quote out from the bottom.
Wherever you go, no matter what the weather, always bring your own sunshine.
Hello.
Good point.
That's what you just told us, wasn't it? And actually, I think you're being a bit mean to England. Today it's raining, but it's the only day since you got back in 2 weeks that we've had rain.
No, not in Shoreham it isn't. It's been grey and drizzly quite a lot in Shoreham for the last 2 weeks.
Has it?
Yeah, it's sunny in the morning about 8 o'clock, and then by about 10 o'clock it's all clouded over. And I've been going out to try and do the V-zine filming, and it's so bloody noisy. Cars everywhere, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, moaning. I don't. It's been a challenge. Put it that way. What's fueled your fire this week?
Well, 3 days off. Absence makes my heart grow fonder always. So quite gagging to get back to it yesterday in a funny sort of way, because there was a stranger and a returner in my diary, and both of those are lovely. And it won't be by the time people hear this on the 12th of May, but it's the 3rd of May and only the second day, business day of May. So you've got a nice new shiny month. That's about it, really. Difficult when you're in pain to find anything that lights up life. But a new month, I sent Marion an email over the weekend saying, I'm really in love with my business right now. And she said, you're mostly always in love with your business. I think, which is true. But I did feel particularly sort of G'd up for someone then, really.
And how is Marion with her business?
Oh, she's all right, I think. It has a rhythm all of its own, which is technically this is a time of year that's good to sign up because people want to be a bit slimmer to get into their summer clothes, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I think what she's discovering is that, in fact, she's discovering what my word of the week is, which I'm not going to tell you now, but it's a bit strong for the Slimming World example, but what she's discovering is that I think it's true of a diet club that often people go for the crack and they don't always lose weight. They're not, a bit like coaching, they're not all serious.
Okay. Varying degrees of seriousness.
Well, for some people, it's enough to come and pay your sub once a week and go out for a night out with the girls and a bit of a laugh. You know what I mean?
Okay, social event. Yeah, I think she's doing a good job with her social media. She's posting pictures of what she's eating, and it A, looks very appetising, and B, looks very, filling. It doesn't look like she's starving herself by any means. So I think that's a very positive thing she's doing there.
Now, I've certainly recommended it to a couple of clients, and one reported a good first week. I think you always get a good result in your first week of anything like that, don't you?
Yeah. But you're having some rather good results with your regime, aren't you?
Yes, I wouldn't. It's a way of eating for the rest of my life. No carbs, end of.
Yeah, and it's working, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. Well, what I've been doing is fueling my fire by filling my time with webinars. And you know what they say about what people go online for? It's either entertainment or education. So I get my entertainment from YouTube and Gary Vee and Casey Neistat and people like that. And then I've been watching webinars as education, but also entertainment. So, instead of watching a bit of TV in the daytime, I watch a webinar or listen to it when I'm doing something else. And I've had, I don't normally go near the wealth creation stuff anymore, but I did sign up for Harv Ecker's one because it's interesting. I'll tell you what it is. I'm doing really well with my webinar. It's converting at 10%. People who actually turn up or watch the replay, 10% of them buying. And it's going really well. I had a bumper week last week. I redid the webinar and it's converting even better. So I'm very obsessed with what makes webinars good at the moment and Facebook traffic. So I watched Harv Ecker's because I wanted to see how Harv does his webinar and what the format is and everything and how he encourages people to come along and all that business. And, we went to that thing in New Jersey. And we quite like Harv, don't we? And it was a really good webinar. I really enjoyed it. And he talked about the 6 or 7 principles of becoming a millionaire within 3 years. And the first one was own your own business. Even if you have to do it on the side of a job, that's the only way to take the lid off your earnings. And I like that a lot. And then the second one was focus. I mean, so really there was nothing new that we didn't know already, but it was delivered in such a nice way with lots of good stories. And I think if you were new to the whole world of wealth creation, it would have been quite an eye-opener. Then I also went on a Facebook Advanced course webinar with a guy called Jason Hornung, who not many people know of, but he manages multi-millions in Facebook advertising, and he's really got some brilliant testimonials. Anyway, I learned a lot on that, and in fact, I'm going to share some of it on the Client Challenge of the Week, if you can bear it. And then the other one I went on was a consulting webinar, because there's quite a lot of stuff floating around at the moment for people who want to become $1 million consultants, a bit like $1 million coaches, I suppose. And I'm a bit fascinated by the whole consulting model, because I quite fancy doing some of that. And consulting is an interesting thing because it's where you share your expertise, but you don't do any of the work. And the person the company you're consulting with takes your ideas and plan and puts them into action, either with or without your supervision. So I'm quite interested in that whole model. In fact, I'd love to get into a place where I could take a share of someone's business, perhaps in return for becoming their non-exec marketing director.
Okay.
So these are the things I'm interested in at the moment, and that's what's been fueling my fire is webinars and watching how people do them.
Okay.
Would you like to showcase your business, product or service to between 400 to 600 highly engaged solopreneurs and business owners every week? We can offer a 30-second mid-roll slot and sponsorship branding on our website and in our private Facebook group. Just contact Nicola at nicolacairncross.com for more details. Okay, so Client Challenge of the Week. Now, tell me if you think this sounds really dull, but I learnt on one of these webinars how to work out how much you can afford to spend on advertising. And I thought it might be an interesting case study, but it does presuppose that someone who's listening has got an offer that converts, i.e. they've got, a product or service that people are buying, and that they also have a budget, because you do have to invest a bit in advertising, and you do have, it might not immediately make returns because of the quality of your traffic or your landing page or your sales page or your sales process. But I just wondered if you might find it interesting to work out how much you could spend on advertising and still make a profit.
Well, I think our listeners might.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't. But unless we can think of anything more exciting to talk about.
No, go for it.
Okay, all right. So I did it on myself, because I have found an offer that converts, which is a training course, a 6-step. And that's another interesting thing. People seem to love six-week training courses. They seem to be just about the right length for people to think they're getting their money's worth without being too overwhelming sounding. 12 weeks can sound overwhelming. So what I'm finding is working for me is offering a 6-week course with 12 weeks support. So people think, oh, well, even if I don't get to do this, week 2, in week 2, I've got another week to catch up. So that seems to work quite well. People seem to like that. And I started out at $117.50, but I found that with the conversion rates being so abysmal at the moment, that was coming in at about 88 quid after charges, PayPal or Stripe charges. So I wanted to make it about £100, because I don't know about you, but I find £100 a little bit more exciting than £88. Although I'm grateful for both. There's a psychological thing about the 100 quid. So I worked out, let's try and sell it for $147, and that's selling just as well as $117. So that's another bit of useful information for your listeners. People will pay that as easily as 117. So then I thought, so this is what I've learned. You should aim to make a good return on your investment on advertising is a 2-to-1 return, which means that if you put in £1 in advertising, you should make £2 back. So there's a bit to fuel future advertising, and there's a bit to keep yourself. Now, I realise that lots of people, when they're starting out, are trying to make a living, so they can't afford to reinvest any of the income. But at some point, you will get to the point where you think either I need to expand this, or in which case I need to invest in advertising, or you'll get to the point where you're more than covering your expenses every month and you've got a bit to spare to play with and you'd like to grow your business. So this is how you do it. This is how you work it out. So you work out to generate 100 customers, which in my case would bring me a revenue of $14,700 because I'm selling $147 product. So 100 customers, $14,700. You might want to check my maths as we go here, Judith.
Yeah.
Give you something to do so you don't drop off.
Yep.
And then you need to work out what you're converting at the moment. So your sales page, your sales process, your sales webinar, how many, if you put 100 people through that, how many would buy? So in my case, it's converting at 10%. So I need 1,000 attendees at my webinar to bring me 100 customers. That's 10%, right? So then I need to look at how many people do I need to register in order to get 1,000 attendees. And I've got a really high conversion rate of 72.9%. So 72% of the people who come register turn up, which is very high for a webinar. It's usually about 30%. So I need 1,371 registrants to get 1,000 attendees.
Okay.
Then I can see on my software that I've got a 26% conversion from people who visit the page to people who actually register for the webinar. Now, that's quite low-ish. It's well within normal range, but it's low. I'd like to get that higher. But that means I need 5,169 visitors or clicks, because every visitor is a click, obviously, from somewhere, then to make my registration numbers work. Now, this is where you get into the money. So you think to yourself, okay, so out of my money, 100 customers, 14 grand, $14,700, how much of that am I willing to spend to get a customer? And in my case, I'm actually willing to spend all of it because...
Oh, I was going to say, if it's a digital product or doesn't involve much of you, all of it, yeah.
Well, you say that, but in order to spend all of it, you need to have something on the back end. And what my back end is a membership site. So people come in for 12 weeks and a certain number of them will stay on. And in membership sites, you work it out that people are going to stay for 3 months on average, and it'll either be 50% of the people who join to get the support will stay on, or 25% or 10%. You don't know. I won't know till I get to the 12-week mark.
Yeah.
I'm just coming up on that now. So theoretically, if people are going to stay for 3 months at $79, and it's going to be, what did I work out? I think I worked out 25% stay on, I'm going to make another $6,000, $5,925. So you could argue that I'm willing to spend 14 grand to make 5,900 grand. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct, right?
5,900, just not grand, 5,900.
Yeah. But for the benefit of the listeners who might not have a back end yet, let's say I'm willing to spend half my 14 grand. So I'm willing to spend $7,350.
Yeah.
Now, I know that I'm going to need to get 5,169 clicks in order to achieve my other goals. And that means 7,350 divided by 5,169 is $1.42 a click.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at my Facebook ads and I'm thinking, okay, let's turn off any campaigns that aren't getting clicks at less than 142.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's another thing I learned, that what top Facebook people think is that if you're getting a 3% conversion, so if your ad is shown to 1,000 people and 3% of them click, that's a good campaign. And I didn't know that before, and I've been running Facebook ads for several years. Nobody's ever told me that, that a 3% is a good one. And some of mine are doing less than that, some of them are doing more than that. Right, so then you can work back from all of the sums you've just done to say to yourself, okay, so what am I willing to pay to get a registration? And based on all of the sums we've just done, I've worked out that I can pay $5.36 to get a registration, and I will still be making £2 for every pound I put in.
Okay.
If all my numbers hold. And the really interesting thing about doing all this is that it gives you something to barometrize your advertising against. And it could be any kind of advertising, whether it's, magazine advertising or radio advertising or, anything. affiliate advertising. It just gives you a way of working out and some guidelines about what's good and what's not, because that's, it's really quite, nebulous about whether you're doing well or not. So the other interesting thing that came out of doing these sums was that I worked out that I'd been sending people, because when I first started my Webinar Jam registration pages do not convert as well as lead pages registration pages. So I was sending people to a lead pages page, and then I was either jumping them to the Webinar Jam registration page, or I was sending them an email with a link to register. And I was getting, this is where you might be able to help with my maths, because I'm feeling a little bit shaky on this one.
I just warn you that my calculator is in the other room, so right, okay. Yeah, it's limited how much I can help you today.
Okay, all right. So if I was sending 1,000 people to my lead pages opt-in page, and I was getting a 30% conversion there, which means 300 people were opting in, and then of those, 26% ended up going to the Webinar Jam. No, 26% ended up registering at Webinar Jam. So I had 79 leads out of my 1,000. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, oh, okay, so I'm assuming that because I'm getting a 30% initial opt-in, that's a good, better. But then I'm thinking, oh, hang on a minute, it's dropping down quite dramatically. It's going 30% of 1,000, which is 300, and then it's going 26 of 300, which is 79 leads. What if I sent them straight to a Webinar Jam page and it didn't convert as well, but they didn't have to go through the two-step process? So 1,000 people to Webinar Jam page is converting at 26% is 260 leads.
Yep.
So then I thought, okay, so all I've got to do is find a Webinar Jam page that converts at 26% or better, and I'm doing better than I was before.
But what about the thing that you told us before about putting them through tiny steps helps get them
micro commitments? Yeah. Well, that's why I was doing it, because my Webinar Jam page wasn't converting very well. But then I thought, okay, so I can now split test Webinar Jam registration pages, and because you've got your Facebook pixel on it, you can always retarget the people who don't. I was thinking I do better to get them to opt in first, so I can market to them over and over again, rather than sending them to a Webinar Jam page where they either register or they don't. But then I remembered that I can remarket to them if they don't. So now I'm split testing 2 Webinar Jam pages, and the only other thing to think about in all this is, does Facebook like you sending people to a page that is not on your own domain name? Because
we've been told not, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been told not, exactly. And you can send people straight to a lead page on your own website that registers people directly to Webinar Jam, but you can't do it with EverWebinar, which is the automated repeating one. So I was sort of taking that into account. Anyway, I've just put my Facebook ads going straight to a Webinar Jam page, and they're perfectly happy with it.
Okay.
At the moment. So now I've actually split testing 2 Webinar Jam pages, and I'm getting a 42% conversion.
Very good.
So I'm now getting 420 leads for every 1,000 people I'm sending. So I now have to renew my sums above, because it means that I can afford to pay more per click and more per registration to get,
depending on what the end result is.
Yes, exactly. So that's another variable, as actually is the traffic that goes through. Well, there's no reason why it shouldn't be.
Well, we've got to keep weighing it up at all the points, haven't we?
Yeah, and you've got to do some sort of basic sums every month to make sure it's holding steady.
I think more often than that in this situation, because there's quite a high spend going on.
Yeah. So that's what you need to do to work out how much you want to advertise. Now, as I say, it does presuppose that you've got an offer that converts, and it does presuppose that you've got a budget to invest in the first place, which you may or may not make your money back on initially, because you've got to get your ad right and you've got to get your webinar right and things. But if you have got an offer that's converting to organic traffic to your website, for example, and there's no reason to suppose that you couldn't make this work. And that's the Facebook ads lesson for today.
Yes, and so what have we taught people in terms of our show notes, working out how much to pay for advertising?
Well, it's budgets again, isn't it? It's knowing your numbers and how important those are. Because I couldn't have told you before I did these sums that I can afford to pay up to $5.36 for a registration. And I was turning off campaigns that were costing me less than that because I hadn't done these sums. And the campaign,
because you didn't know that 3% was a good click rate.
No, exactly. I didn't know that either. And so now I'm looking at all my campaigns again and going back retrospectively, because you can do that on Facebook. You can look at a lifetime history of them and thinking, because interest groups that may have been converting less well, they can now look at again. So it's opened up a whole load of, potential advertising interest groups to me.
Well, the maths is very sexy, I'll give you that.
That's what I thought, Judith.
Yeah.
It took me a good 2 hours to work this lot out.
Yes, I'm not surprised. Well done to you.
Yeah. But it's true in all your business, isn't it? I mean, so many people just don't, they don't track their cash flow, they don't track they just sort of wing it, really. And I think it's even more dangerous if you're successful out of the gate, isn't it? Because you don't feel the need to track anything. Then you just think, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and it will carry on. Yes,
I do think you have to be observant of what's happening in market trends that may or may not be having an impact on your business. I've had a conversation with somebody first thing this morning on that, and then adaptive and responsive. So you have to notice what's going on, and then you have to decide, are we going to panic and open up new lines, or are we going to just assume it's a blip, or when will we, bring in a new thing that we do, whatever. Everything changes all the time, really, is the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know why, but business people expect it not to change. I mean, I'm certainly been guilty of this in the past. You have to totally expect
I don't think it's just business people. People in a job think they'll have a job for life, and they haven't anymore. Everything changes all the time, and the pace of change is getting faster in our current world, I think.
Which if you can embrace that, is exciting. But if you...
it's opportunity. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's right. So what's your word of the week then?
Well, I got it from a client. When we do this, I always look back through my notebook and see what significant words have I written down. I was having a conversation with a woman about her niche, and she was telling me that we were going back to what originally set her on fire, and she was describing how and why she'd got sidetracked from that into another area. And in this secondary area, she described her clients as obdurate, obdurate, which means refusing. Obdurate. It means refusing to reform or repent. A bit like Marion's dieters that don't really, who are there for the crack, not to lose weight. So she was basically ending up cancelling people in a corporate environment who didn't want to change and who refused to change. And you would find that very dispiriting. She found it dispiriting. I think in the end, Marion, if there's a downside to the Slimming World model, it's the ones that don't really want to lose weight but keep turning up every week and cheating. Anyway, obdurate means refusing to reform or repent.
Good word. I like it a lot.
It is a good word. And actually, after she said it to me, I wrote down donkeys. Donkeys are a bit like that.
Yes, stubborn. So I can think of...
Yeah, they stand their ground. Yes, but imagine coaching a room full of donkeys. That would be quite depressing, wouldn't it?
I have certainly coached obdurate people myself.
Well, quite. And actually, I don't mind so much, but you do. You want people to change when you're working with them.
Well, I just feel wrong taking their money otherwise. Whereas I've got to get around...
I don't think you need to, because they're still sentient beings who are choosing to spend the money.
I know, but I like to feel I'm bringing value. And that's one of the things.
Well, you bring the value. That's a given. It's their choice whether they take advantage of it. Yeah. And funnily enough, when you described your 6-week training course, you've got an inbuilt failure mechanism there, which is if they don't do week one in week one, they've got another week to catch up.
Yes, but it's only a week. It's not going to drag on forever, is it?
No, but because you expect it, you've allowed for it a bit.
Mm. Yeah,
It's your reality that people come to the party, but don't achieve as much as you would want for them to achieve. And I think they are happy with less than you. That's all. It doesn't mean they're useless.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to remind myself that people spend on entertainment or education. So they might initially come for the education, but they might stay for the entertainment.
Yes, as long as it's one or the other, that's great.
Yeah, and that makes me feel a lot better. I'm also a lot better about it on lower sums of money. if people invest smaller sums of money, I'm not so bothered about it. But
and they do say that higher sums of money that people tend to achieve more because they've got more skin in the deal, but I'm not sure about that. Tell me what your word of the week is.
Well, it's budget, because obviously I've been obsessed with all the numbers this week, but it's not just about... I've always used to think that budget was a boring thing or a limiting thing, but actually I've come to realise through doing my weekly cash flow reconciliations that a budget is a no more or less than a framework on which you can base your future spending or your today's spending based on knowing what it's going to do in the future. So
you do like a framework, don't you?
I do, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, projects. Yes, I've done my homework on this. In spite of not turning up on time, I have done my homework.
Okay.
We're still at number 77 in iTunes. I thought we dropped out. I was having a heart attack yesterday, so I thought, oh my God, I can't find it anywhere. They must have done the much-awaited iTunes shake-up, and it turned out I was looking at video podcasts, not audio podcasts. 10-day, strongly up. 30-day, mediumly down. 90-day, gentle up. So more ups than downs this week.
Okay. I sent you yesterday, and I've just tagged you in it this morning because it wouldn't let me tag you from the place I shared it, and I put it in our group rather than our page, an article about podcasting, but it specifically gets into the what's hot in our niche, marketing, and what's it called, money and what's it called, our thing, something
management and marketing, yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. It's full of stats, and it talks specifically about our place where we're number 77.
Oh, good. And the other thing that is encouraging about it is Gary Vee is banging on about podcasting all the time. He's telling people to start podcasts. So he obviously, because he's always 2 years ahead of everyone else, he obviously either knows something or still very much believes in podcasts. And he's not someone who listens to things or consumes things himself. So he must be getting his information from somewhere. So
this article I've tagged you in says as much, actually.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I'll enjoy reading that afterwards then. Who or what's impressed this week?
Well, it hasn't so much impressed me as kind of threatened to suck me in a good way.
Oh, good.
So if I were looking to start a new hobby, which I'm not, and it involved collectibles, which it never will because they're clutter, yeah. I have completely fallen in love with and would consider owning a small collection, perhaps even, there's an Instagram or Pinterest opportunity here, and I'm sure somebody else has done it already, but something which is called AB crystal jewellery. Now, do you remember those old-fashioned necklaces that grannies used to have, they look like clear glass beads, but in the right light, they reflect rainbow colours?
No.
They're vintage now.
Oh, look at
that. AB stands for Aurora Borealis because they're painted with something that shows it in rainbow colours in the right light. So they're clearish, but they show you all sorts of pretty colours.
Yeah, like very Edwardian, actually. I can imagine these on the bosoms of Edwardian ladies.
Well, and quite 50s, actually, as well. I think my mother and my grandmother both owned them. And I was thinking I might buy a necklace for my brother's party, and then I realised actually I wanted all of these. All of them. I mean, look at that one. I'm not the right sort of person for that one you're looking at, but I mean, that is fantastic.
Lovely earrings as well. Nice
they're all gorgeous. They're all gorgeous. And Swarovski, I don't even know how you say that word, Swarovski. They're in it as well. Crystal. That stuff you're looking at now, that is their modern tat. I'm not interested in that. And I've never been interested in vintage before, but the collectibles, these, and they're not expensive, Nicola. There are Etsy shops awash with AB crystals. They're inexpensive. Oh, well, you would now. You'll see it everywhere when you go into what I would call a junk shop, but other people would call
antiques.
Yes, antiques or collectibles or tat. You'll see them everywhere.
Wow, no idea.
Absolutely. Fantastic they are. I'm going to send you a picture to use for our picture today because I'm going to send you some examples of my faves. So I'm not taking up a new hobby. I'm not making jewellery. I'm not even collecting jewellery. But if I were, it would be these. I think they're absolutely beautiful.
Pinterest or Instagram's an interesting one because it means that you can collect beautiful pictures of things you love without actually having to possess the item.
Without owning them, yes. Or I can just go onto Google and do what you've done now and do this. You see, I like that one up the top there. I like simple ones. So last but one on the top row, that one, yeah.
Okay.
I like them to be quite simple. I don't need it to be big and bulky and show-offy. I like it almost.
I'm actually drawn to this monster here.
yes, absolutely. But they don't need to be that big. The ones I like are much simpler, and it's just the, if it were the earrings, I would just want the single stone. So that one you're looking at's got that great big thing in the middle.
Yeah.
And then some slightly smaller ones around the outside, and then some even smaller ones in the necklace. I want the even smaller ones as one stud as an earring. That's how subtle I am.
I spent a lot of my teenage years going around junk shops buying jewellery, costume jewellery with Kim. It was one of our favourite things to do, and I've never seen this.
Well, yeah, you were blind to it then, because these 3-stranders are everywhere. You'll see them now. You'll see them at boot fairs. They're everywhere. I've known that all my life. They're lovely.
Oh, there you go.
The most common one you find is a 3-strand. You see there to the right of where you're looking, in the little pictures, where it says jewellery set in red. Go to the right, and there's little pictures.
Oh yeah.
The one on the end is a 3-strander. Down. No, yes, it's gone now. It's gone. You were looking, but it's gone.
All right. Oh,
it's three strands of it around. It was very, very cheap, but it looked like it wasn't. If that makes sense. There's a classic there of a pink. Top row of the mini pictures. Oh, you keep clicking, so the ones I keep pointing at. Top row of the mini pictures there. Oh, gone again. Scroll down a bit. Down a bit. Down a bit. Down a bit. There. Top row of the mini pictures. Where over to the right. Where it's third row down on the extreme right. You keep clicking. That's the sort of more normal look.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure all our listeners are scrabbling for their Google to go and have a look right now.
AB crystal jewellery, and I'll put a picture. I'll send you a picture. Yeah. Well, actually, any of these pictures would do, Nicola, if we're allowed to use them.
Okay. Well, mine could be further away from that, really. It's the passport office. I've got a passport that's running out in July, and I've got to go to Australia in June, and Sarah said you better get your passport done before you go because they don't let you in, And traditionally updating your passport is a really painful business, isn't it? You have to go and find one of those shops that take your photo. You have to make sure your hair's off your face. You have to do all that, send it all off manually, and all this stuff. And then it takes weeks and may not come, and you've got all the stress of it. Will it come? Won't it come? Whatever. Not anymore, Judith. I know. I know. The government in the last 20 years have taken everything online. Well, I looked about renewing my passport online. I sat at my desk and I filled in the form online. Yeah. I paid the money online. I took the picture with my laptop, and then I uploaded my picture digitally. And then the worst bit was having to walk around the post office to post off my old passport, which was effortless, pretty much. And I'm not joking, Judith. Within 5 days, I got my new passport.
Well, when I went earlier in the year, I went actually out to the office. I wanted to do it in the day. And everybody kept sending me on messages on Facebook saying, mine came back within 3 days, mine came back within 4 days. Yes, they've got it sussed. The passport office have got it sussed. This is our second passport office rave review in 2017.
I didn't have to go anywhere near a person. It was brilliant.
And the good news is it's for 10 years, isn't it? So you don't have to do it again for another decade.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I did. I'm a little bit sad because I do look a little bit like a porky criminal. But whereas my last passport picture was younger and thinner. But
I know. I mean, you know what I say about when I had my I've told you this story before. I'll try and keep it clean for the podcast. Is my 1997 picture? I still looked F-able. In my 2007 picture, I just look F, and in my 2017 picture, I just look like a tragic old woman. Honestly, talk about those years of your life, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, just awful decline.
It goes downhill fast, doesn't it? But the interesting thing is the picture I took. It came out really well in the digital picture, but it's actually quite difficult to see me in the actual passport.
Well, you passed the test. That's good. I'll tell you what is interesting is when you send your passport in, if they can't tell from your picture 10 years ago, comparing it to your picture to today, that it's the same person, then there would have been a bit more aggro involved.
Yeah, well, I didn't think they were going to be able to recognise me from it. I certainly couldn't.
Well, when I had one done for my driving licence once, Nicola said to me, "Oh, I'd get that done again if I were you. You look like awful." But we must remember these are for ID purposes only. Okay?
Yes, exactly. Anyway, hopefully I will sail through the Australian customs now, looking older and wiser.
I'm sure you will, and actually they don't care.
Yeah, brilliant. That's us this week then. I'll look forward to browsing these Aurora Borealis. That's not easy to say either, is it?
Aurora Borealis. So that presumably that's why they call it AB crystal jewellery, so that none of us have to spell or pronounce Aurora Borealis.
All right. That's hours of endless fun to take up.
You can get them, as you see, you can get them in colours and you can get them in clear, but the ones I like are AB because they look clear, but in the right light they reflect rainbows, which I think is pretty little girly and fairyish.
Yes, lovely. All right then, I'll speak to you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye. You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.